The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Longman Simplified English Series. Read by Thitimaa Phansi. Chapter 13. Homesick. Joe lost his knife. After dinner, all the gang sets out to hunt for a turtle egg on the sandbar. They put sticks into the sand, and then when found a soft place, they went down on their knees and dug with their hands. Sometimes they took 50 or 60 eggs out of one hole. They had a grand fried egg feast that night, and another on Friday morning. After breakfast, they dashed out on the bar and catch each other round and round, and then continue their game out again, and stiff current which swept and legs from under them from time to time and gradually increased the fun. Now and then they stood in a group and threw water in each other's face with their palm, gradually approaching each other with face turned aside, and finally seized each other and struggling until they all went under in confusion and came up blowing, laughing, and gasping for breath at one and the same time. When they were exhausted, they would stretch out on the hot, dry sand and cover themselves up with it, and after a time dish for the water again and do the same once more. Then they drew a ring in the sand and had a circle with 3 lion tamers in it, as each refused to have any other job. Next, they got their marble and played various games until they grew tired of this amusement. They had another swim and a long rest. After this, they gradually wandered apart and began to gaze longingly across the wide river at the village asleep in the sun. Tom found himself writing Becky in the sand with his big toe. He scratched it out and was angry with himself for his weakness. But Joe was so homesick that he could hardly bear the misery of it. Huck has a long face too. Tom was downhearted, but he tried hard not to show it. He had a secret which he was not ready to tell yet, but if this depression was not broken up soon, he would have to reveal it. Tom suggested that they should go hunting for pirate treasure, chests of gold and silver, but the others were not keen on doing so. Tom made other suggestions, but they failed too. It was decorating work. Joe sat digging a stick into the sand and looking very gloomy. "Oh boy, let's give it up," said Joe finally. "I want to go home. It's so lonely." "Oh no, Joe, you'll feel better soon. Just think of the fishing here, and there isn't another swimming place anywhere better than this." "Swimming's no good. I don't seem to care for it. Somehow, when there isn't anybody to say that I mustn't swim, I want to go home." "Well, we'll let the cry baby go home to its mother, won't we, Huck? Poor thing, does it want to see its mother? And so it shall. You like it here, don't you, Huck? We'll stay, won't we?" Huck said yes, without any heart in it. Joe rising to collect his belongings. Soon, without a parting word, he began to walk slowly through the shallow water toward the Illinois bank. Tom's heart began to sink. He glanced at Huck. Huck dropped his eyes. "I want to go too, Tom," said he. "It's what getting lonely, and now it'll be worse. Let's go too, Tom." "Well, go. Who's hindering you?" Huck walked sorrowfully away, and Tom watched them moving slowly on. Tom suddenly noticed that everything has become very lonely and still. He made one final struggle with his pride, and then dashed after his friends. "Wait, wait!" he shouted. "I want to tell you something." They stopped and turned around. When he reached them, he began unfolding his secret, and they listened gloomily, till at last they understood his plan. Then they gave a cheer and said that it was marvelous. They assured him that they would not have left him if he had told them before. Tom made up an excuse, but his real reason has been the fact that not even the secret would keep them with him any very great length of time, and so he has meant to hold it in reserve as a last possession. The boys came gaily back and continued their sports, talking all the time about Tom's plans and admiring the cleverness of it. After a delicious egg and fish dinner, Tom said that he wanted to learn how to smoke. Joe said that he would like to try too. So Huck filled pipes and they stretched themselves out on their elbow and began to puff cautiously. And with a little confidence, the smoke has a pleasant taste, and they gasped a little. "Why, it's easy," Tom said. "If I'd known that this was all I have learned long ago." "So would I," said Joe. "It's just nothing. I believe I could smoke this pipe all day. I don't feel sick." "Neither do I," said Tom. I could smoke all day, but I bet you Jeff Dutcher couldn't." "Jeff Dutcher? Why, he fall down with just 2 puffs." "I say, boys, don't say anything about it, and sometime when the boys are around I'll come up to you and say, 'Joe, have you got a pipe? I want to smoke.' And you'll say, in a careless way, as if it was nothing, you'll say, 'Yes, I've got my old pipe and another one, but my tobacco isn't very good.' And I'll say, 'Oh, that's all right, if it's strong enough.' And then you'll take out the pipe and we'll light them as if it was nothing. How they will stare!" "That will be grand, Tom. I wish it was now." So the talk ran on, but presently it began to drag a little. The silence widened, spitting marvelously. Increased. Fountains seemed to be at work inside their cheeks. Both the boys were looking very pale and miserable now. Joe's pie dropped from his finger. Tom followed. "I've lost my knife," said Joe, feebly. "I think I'd better go and find it," Tom wrote unsteadily, and said with trembling lips, "I'll help you. You go over that way and I'll search by the spring. No, you needn't come, Huck. We can find it." So Huck sat down again and waited an hour. Then he found it, lonely, and went to find his companion. They were wide apart in the wood, both very pale, both fast asleep. But something informed him that if they had had any trouble, they had got rid of it. They were not very talkative at supper that night. They had a humble look. When Huck prepared his pie after the meal and was going to prepare theirs, they told him not to. They were not feeling very well. Sometimes they ate at dinner had upset them.